Before the Fellowship was the greatest story you've never heard. I'm Greg.
I'm Cameron.
I'm Dan.
Join us as we read and react to the Silmarillion by J.R.R. Tolkien. Last time we began chapter 24. Eärendil and Eärendil, son of Tuor, marries Elwing. They have two children, Elrond and Elros, the half-elven. Two merging desires grow in Eärendil's heart: to find his parents across the sea, and to reach Valinor and plead with the Valar for their intervention in the woes of elves and men. The remaining sons of Feanor learn that Elwing possesses the Silmaril at the mouths of Sirion and attack the remnants of Gondolin and Doriath. Amrod and Amras are slain, leaving only Maedhros and Maglor. Elrond and Elros are taken captive, and Elwing casts herself into the sea with the Silmaril. Ulmo transforms her into a great white bird, and she flies to meet Eärendil on his ship. With nothing to return to, they turn westward and reach Aman by the light of the Silmaril. Eärendil stands before the Valar and pleads for mercy upon men and elves, and his prayer is granted. Today we continue chapter 24 of Quenta Silmarillion, beginning on page 249 of the second edition. It is told among the elves that after Eärendil had departed, seeking Elwing his wife, Mandos spoke concerning his fate. And he said, "Shall mortal man step living upon the undying lands and yet live?" But Ulmo said, "For this he was born into the world, and say unto me, whether is he Eärendil Tuor's son of the line of Hador, or the son of Eärendil, Turgon's daughter, of the elven house of Finwë?" And Mandos answered, "Equally the Noldor, who went willfully into exile, may not return hither." But when all was spoken, Manwë gave his judgment, and he said, "In this matter, the power of doom is given to me. The peril that he ventured for love of the two kindreds shall not fall upon Eärendil, nor shall it fall upon Elwing his wife, who entered into peril for love of him. But they shall not walk again ever among elves or men in the outer lands. And this is my decree concerning them. To Eärendil and to Elwing, and to their sons, shall be given leave each to choose freely to which kindred their fates shall be joined, and under which kindred they shall be judged. Now, when Eärendil was long time gone, Elwing became lonely and afraid, and wandering by the margin of the sea, she came near to Alqualonde, where lay the Teleran fleets. There the Teleri befriended her, and they listened to her tales of Doriath and Gondolin, and the griefs of Beleriand, and they were filled with pity and wonder. And there Eärendil, returning, found her at the haven of the swans. But ere long they were summoned to Valimar, and there the decree of the elder king was declared to them. Then Eärendil said to Elwing, "Choose thou, for now I am weary of the world." And Elwing chose to be judged among the firstborn children of Iluvatar, because of Luthien. And for her sake, Eärendil chose alike, though his heart was rather with the kindred of men and the people of his father. Then, at the bidding of the Valar, Eonwë went to the shore of Aman, where the companions of Eärendil still remained, awaiting tidings. And he took a boat, and the 3 mariners were set therein, and the Valar drove them away into the east with a great wind. But they took Vingilot and hallowed it, and bore it away through Valinor to the uttermost rim of the world, and there it passed through the door of night, and was lifted up even into the oceans of heaven. Now fair and marvelous was that vessel made, and it was filled with the wavering flame, pure and bright. And Eärendil the mariner sat at the helm, glistening with the dust of elven gems, and the Silmaril was bound upon his brow. Far he journeyed in that ship, even into the starless voids, but most often was he seen at morning or at evening, glimmering in sunrise or sunset, as he came back to Valinor from voyages beyond the confines of the world. On those journeys Elwing did not go, for she might not endure the cold and the pathless voids, and she loved rather the earth and the sweet winds that blow on sea and hill. Therefore, there was built for her a white tower northward upon the borders of the sundering seas, and thither at times all the seabirds of the earth repaired. And it is said that Elwing learned the tongues of birds, who herself had once worn their shape, and they taught her the craft of flight, and her wings were of white and silver gray. And at times, when Eärendil returning drew near again to Arda, she would fly to meet him, even as she had flown long ago when she was rescued from the sea. Then the far-sighted among the elves that dwelt in the lonely isle would see her like a white bird, shining, rose-stained in the sunset, as she soared in joy to greet the coming of Vingilot to haven. Now, when first Vingilot was set to sail in the seas of heaven, it rose unlooked for, glittering and bright. And the people of Middle-earth beheld it from afar and wondered, and they took it for a sign, and called it Gilestel, the star of high hope. And when this new star was seen at evening, Maedhros spoke to Maglor his brother, and he said, "Surely that is a Silmaril that shines now in the west." And Maglor answered, "If it be truly the Silmaril which we saw cast into the sea, that rises again by the power of the Valar, then let us be glad, for its glory is now seen by many, and is yet secure from all evil." Then the elves looked up and despaired no longer, but Morgoth was filled with doubt. Yet it is said that Morgoth looked not for the assault that came upon him from the west, for so great was his pride become, that he deemed that none would ever again come with open war against him. Moreover, he thought that he had forever estranged the Noldor from the lords of the west, and that content in their blissful realm, the Valar would heed no more his kingdom in the world without. For to him that is pitiless, the deeds of the pity are ever strange, and beyond reckoning. But the hosts of the Valar prepared for battle, and beneath their white banners marched the Vanyar, the people of Ingwe, and those also of the Noldor, who never departed from Valinor, whose leader was Finarfin, son of Finwë. Few of the Teleri were willing to go forth to war, for they remembered the slaying at the Swan Haven and the rape of their ships. But they hearkened to Elwing, who was the daughter of Dior Elukil. and come of their own kindred, and they sent mariners enough to sail the ships that bore the host of Valinor east over the sea. Yet they stayed aboard their vessels, and none of them set foot upon the hitherlands. In summary, the Valar discuss Eärendil's fate, and Manwë decrees that Eärendil, Elwing, and their sons will decide to join their fate to men or elves. Eärendil and Elwing choose the fate of elves. Vingilot, Eärendil's ship, is hallowed, and Eärendil is able to sail through the heavens and beyond the confines of the world. With the Silmaril in his brow, he appears as a star at sunrise and sunset. Elwing befriends the birds and learns from them how to fly. She meets Eärendil when he returns from his voyages. In Middle-earth, all see the light of the Silmaril in the western sky and wonder what it means. Maedhros and Maglor rejoice, knowing that one of the Silmarils has been secured from evil. Meanwhile, the hosts of the Valar, along with the Vanyar and the Noldor under Finarfin, and the Teleri, prepare to wage war on Morgoth.
So, are you telling me that these letters in our document with the summary that we write out have always been red? They've never been green? Like, have they ever been green?
They've never been green. They've always been red.
Okay. Great. Good. I'm so glad. I'm so glad that I thought it was green the whole time. Okay. I just want to say that the bird thing reminds me of an albatross. Does it remind you guys of albatrosses and how they're used in literary devices in old mythologies?
No.
Okay.
Enlighten us.
So albatross is a massive bird. It's a oftentimes it signifies actually the opposite of what is happening here. But no, it doesn't. It symbolizes luck, not death. I thought it symbolizes death. They're really, really big birds, and in old mythologies, if you see them, it's supposed to be a good omen. I think that actually mariners at one point, when they would see an albatross, if they were lost at sea, it would be like okay, we can make it, because they're these like their wingspan is 2 meters, so that's. How much is that? 6 foot, 7 foot wingspan. They follow ships typically because there might be food that's tossed aboard or something. So, but they're white and they're gray to them. Oh wait, I'm wrong about that. Albatross's wingspans can be 8 to 11 feet, so it's like,
oh wow,
it's massive. But yeah, so they're often used in literature, but also to British people. British people typically, they love birds. I don't know why. We love birds. And albatrosses in a particular way are close to the Brits' heart. I was particularly struck that he didn't mention what kind of bird, just a great white bird, and that like. Yeah, it was just interesting. What did you make of the whole like her being a bird thing?
I didn't really care for it.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding. That's just my Americanness coming out.
yeah. You were like, "Where's the gun?"
I wonder if those birds have tasty meat.
Cameron, did you make anything of it?
I'm just intrigued by the resting place of the Silmaril. I think that's what's really cool to me, is that the Silmaril exists up in the sky and the stars. I think that's really cool, poetic. Because it's poetic because Maglor, who I think he's done evil things in the past, says something very wise and good. He says, if it be truly the Silmaril which we saw cast into the sea that rises again by the power of the Valar, then let us be glad. He's talking about it being in the sky. So he continues saying, for its glory is seen now by many, and yet is secure from all evil. So if it's in the sky, no one can possess it, but everyone can enjoy it. So I think that's a really cool destiny for the Silmaril, for that Silmaril.
Yeah. I did like I did like the birds. I don't want to just get too far away from that.
I think birds are cool if you don't have football. You know, if you're just in England and you just you have nothing else to do.
Okay. We have a game. We have a very similar game. We use our feet. What do we call it again? I can't remember.
North American football.
Something like that.
Dan, I think the birds. I think Elwing learning flight from the birds. I didn't pay so much attention to the types of birds, but I think what I read in that was the purity of the white birds and the freedom that they were able to give to Elwing to, I feel that's for me is like the flight, the power of flight that birds have is kind of this freedom to, they're unrestrained and they go, and it is really nice that she uses that gift to be near her beloved husband, even though she doesn't travel with him. She doesn't go on his voyages to the deep void.
Yeah, so she chooses to be in a destiny of the children of Iluvatar, the Elves. And her husband chooses to be with the men.
Well, he kind of concedes that to her and chooses also the fate of elves, but his heart was with men.
Oh, I see. Gotcha.
She her being taught by birds as well, I think it's also a humbling thing as well. Going back to that theme of humility. Because these are lesser creatures in a way, but there's still a respect of them that Iluvatar put a grace in them that is to be respected, and she is willing to lower herself in a way. Greg, you're smirking. Why are you smirking?
I'm appreciating how much you want to go into the birds, like
to talk about birds. Yeah, okay. I mean, I don't know. I'm just intrigued why Tolkien wants to do it. Why does Tolkien want to go there? Is it just is it merely to get from point A to point B? I give him more credit than that.
I mean, her name is Elwing, which means God wing.
Yeah.
If you mix Hebrew and English, I don't know what it means in Elvish.
And then put it in Elvish. You're mixing like it's in the multiverse. It's like there's some kind of connection there.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he never does anything, too casually. There's a purpose behind.
He loves trees, right? We know he loves trees. They're his favorite. I believe they're his favorite creation of God. He loves trees. He identifies most with the Hobbit, so there is a sense of being connected with the land and things of nature. So I think it is important to him that Elwing has this sort of relationship, and I think there is something that he wants to communicate. Maybe it's as simple as just humility, and then, as you said, the freedom. It's poetic that I don't know, like the sky is this place of elevation.
I think it's somewhat related to that topic we've discussed in the past of that longing for the sea, that vastness and the freedom to just cast out into the, you know, the sea and sky, and
Yeah. I mean, Eärendil. That was Eärendil's thing, right? He's
right.
He's ever longing for the sea. What did it say? It said. It said something.
It's cool that we're getting to the moment when we have the Valar coming to the aid of the Noldor and bringing the Teleri with them. And the Teleri were the other elves who were in Valinor, right? Am I getting that right so far?
It's all the three branches of the elves go. The Vanyar were the ones who were right there with the Valar and were very close to them, and they never left
The Teleri
Valinor
came later.
before that.
Did they come on that island or something?
Yeah, that's right. That's the Teleri. So, this is a good thing to, you know, it says that they were hesitant to go because they still remembered the harm that was done to them at the hands of the Noldor. But Elwing is able to convince them at least to send ships, you know, to carry the Valar and the Vanyar and the Noldor across the sea. I love this line. It's at the top of 251. It says Morgoth he didn't expect the Valar to come out of the west. He thought that they were just content there. And it says, for to him that is pitiless, the deeds of pity are ever strange and beyond reckoning. I think this is something we see in Morgoth a lot, where he just can't even fathom how the people would approach him because he's totally merciless and pitiless. Like he's so prideful that he can't even imagine someone doing something selfless or altruistic, right? He just it's beyond him. So that's one of his vulnerabilities is not seeing how humble creatures could topple him.
That's a theme all through Lord of the Rings.
Mm.
The small being the most useful or powerful. Maybe powerful is not the right word, but the chosen ones are the weak or the humble ones because they're the least expected. The hobbits are the ones who surprise Gandalf the most, and in this story, it's Morgoth's pride that clouds his judgment. Dan, what were you gonna say? It was gonna be pretty funny.
I was gonna say something silly and funny, but then you went very profound and meaningful. So
let me ask you this: if there's a spot for it, keep that joke in your up your sleeve, and if there's a spot for it.
Yeah.
What do you guys think of it? Because you know, there's that famous line, right, of Gandalf, where he's like, "You want to say it, Dan? The pity line that Gandalf.
Don't tempt me, Frodo.
No, not that one.
Oh,
fear leads to hate.
No. Pity. That one. Do it. Do that one.
Pity. It was pity that. I don't know. I can't remember it actually. no, I'm thinking about pity that stayed down.
So for Tolkien, pity is like a true virtue. Is that?
Yeah.
Well, it's a play on words because obviously pity has that double meaning, right? There's pity in the sense of I pity you. It's condescending, but then there's a pity of having a mercy upon somebody. Taking pity on someone can lead you to doing an act of sacrifice. But then you can also pity someone, like you could pity Morgoth and move on from it. But then you could pity an elf that has lost his way and try to help him. That's Gandalf's. Gandalf is obviously hearkening to that play on words.
I think it's interesting that we have the final of the 3 hidden cities fallen, and then the last of kind of the remnant, 2 individuals make it to Valinor by the light of the Silmaril and plead for help, and then the Valar come to their aid, and we're about to read next week about this battle that takes place. Just really cool. Like I forgot that was the case. It's like the final city has fallen, hope is almost lost, the Silmaril guides their way, and now the Valar are gonna come to their aid. It's really cool.
It's getting a bit more ethereal. The story has become is there's more ether happening. There's more.
Yeah, maybe one too many birds, you could say.
It's
just kind of reminds
mystical. It's almost as like we're now on a mystical in the mystical part of the story. A lot of the middle of the story is like this person went here and they made this mistake and then got into this fight and did this thing. And now I don't know, it's more emotional.
And it's all happening so quickly, right? I mean, there's 4 pages left in the Quintus Silmarillion.
What?
And we haven't even really heard about the other 2 Silmarils. And what it kind of reminds me of, the first time I read Deathly Hallows, the last Harry Potter book, which I don't think that's nearly as good a book as this one. I'll just say that up front.
Thanks.
But when I first read it, I remember like holding the book and just thinking like, there's only this many pages left. Like, how are they going to wrap up?
Whoa.
They haven't even got close to the goal yet. It's kind of an interesting experience. And it's similar here where it's like, this whole thing has to resolve in 4 pages. And we've heard so far is that the Valar are now going to war against Morgoth. But,
out of interest, was that a good book? Did it end well? Was it? Did she wrap it up well?
I think it meandered a bit too long in the middle part.
Okay.
Whereas there's been action all the way through, but it's just like it's abruptly coming to an end now. It's just been ages of not ages, but an age of these battles back and forth, and Morgoth clinging to the Silmarils, and something has to give here. And we're gonna, what that tells me is it's gonna be packed. It's just gonna be totally dense with action and things happening.
Oh, by the way, are we reading of the Rings of Power and the Third Age?
Yeah. You kidding me right now?
Okay, good. I just want to make sure we're reading the whole book
and then I'm gonna read the family trees.
Yes.
Okay.
That's right.
On the left side we got, and then just read it down.
And then there's a line that goes down and then to the left and then down.
Dan's gonna read the index of names.
Yeah. Very good. I'm looking forward to that.
At Glaron,
Dan, what was your funny joke?
Oh, I don't know, man.
Yeah, how funny was it?
You can read the map though, Greg, at the end of the book.
It'll describe the map.
Have you had like Siri read text messages, and it's like, I remember when Wordle was really big, I heard Siri read a Wordle, like shared Wordle thing, and it's like green square emoji, black square emoji, black square emoji, black square emoji. That's how reading the maps will be. I'll just line by line describe what we're looking at.
65-degree line, 65-degree line, 65-degree line.
Little tree, little tree, little tree, little tree, little tree, little tree.
Oh, I should wrap us up. I think we hit the wall. All right.
Yeah, we did.
If you like what you hear, go ahead and rate us 3 Silmarils out of 3. Follow us everywhere at Before the Fellowship. Join the discussion on Discord, and send any comments or questions to beforethefellowship@gmail.com. You must join us next week to hear how Quintus Silmarillion ends. So please do join us.
Don't give up on the last week. Kind of the last week. Don't give up.
Oh, wait. Stop.
Dan, we already talked about the birds.
No, no, there's a thing. Marcus, he joined at some point, and it was in the end of March, and he said, I've listened to this podcast from the beginning and looked forward to it each week. I still have hope for you guys to finish the Silmarillion. Just wanted to let you know that I love your show. 2 thumbs up.
Oh man, you should have given us
in
3.
Discord.
3.
No, he got 2 thumbs up from other people too. I made it the 3rd right now. And so thank you, Marcus. This episode is dedicated to you.
This is your episode. You can publish it and make money on it however you see fit.
Turn it into an NFT.
Join us next week as we read the greatest story you've never heard, The Silmarillion by J.R.R. Tolkien.
And James Cameron.
Great.
Can you read it slowly? Because Dan's colorblind.
True.
Okay. Before the Fellowship was
you
the
can.
greatest story you've never heard.
I'll just tell you when to start each sentence, okay?
Okay.